Hello, you snivelling viewers. I see they've brought back that dreadful Everett twit again.
The northwest frontier of London. Have you ever thought how many people around here are actually at war with each other? We've got two religious lots of Irish, hostile African tribes, Indians and Pakistanis, Jews and Arabs, and some of the original British. Magic life for a copper, excitement, glamour, and for me, the start of an incredible story.
We'd like to say that, in our opinion, it is not suitable for children or for those of you who may have a nervous disposition.
Let's get this going. Hang on, boys and girls. What can I say? Right, I'm back in my squeaky studio. I've got the other screen. I couldn't, oh God, I've got to put my glasses on for this. I couldn't carry on the way we were, so I apologise for the rants and everything, and I was just using my phone just like everybody else, eh? I got in the same bubble as everybody else. You know what I mean? This is not the real show. This is an apology show in some ways, but we're going to have a look at me changing the way we deal with this show. So it's going to be that you can't quite see there, but we'll bring it up on the screen now. Probably not allowed censored show. And look at that. So let's have a quick look at ChatGPT. So I asked it to come up with some different shows. It came up with Gazza's Unfiltered. Well, that's Bruce Unfiltered. If you don't know who he is, watch him. He's actually really good. I thought probably not. I don't know. I like it. And then he came up with him. It looks like Joe Brogan, whoever that is. You know what I mean? And then I asked it to come up with, oh, I've got this. We're just using it because this is improv. This is not really the show. And then it came up with, I said, no, that's not me. Come on. And I said, we need to have someone else come up. And I gave them this photograph. And it then came up with, guess. Oh, isn't he a handsome chappy? So Wallace is coming up. AI. Isn't AI, in my opinion, stupid? So it came up with this. George Michael lookalike. I do like the news, the rant, the common sense and everything, the common sense show. So AI, not very common sense. So let's start with where I've been and what I've been up to this last, what, 3-4 months without just using the rant that I use. It's pretty hard, eh? The reason, getting back to it, the reason I've not really done the show is because in my other rants I keep mentioning every time I put something together, something then happens the next day. And it's like, it's cut. When we first started this show, remember, there was always something, and then once a week, and I had to fill it in with like historic news, and Les, who's still here, and my Mr. Producer, we filled it in, and we filled it in with nutrition as well, a nutrition show, because there was not masses amounts, which is how it should be. But as this last 18 months, and for especially Donald Trump and Labour getting in, everything is exaggerated. It's like on top, on top, and on top, and on top, and on top of each other. Would you not agree? It just has gone nuts. And it's hard to keep up. So when I'd finished the show, it wasn't relevant anymore because it takes 2 or 3 days me recording, doing my research, getting it down, then adding graphics and stuff and lovely pictures of me. And then it's all changed. That's old news. So I go back on ChatGPT. We had Waitangi Day here not long ago. So let's just go on that for a start. People think this is a live and thinking machine. It's not. It's just another algorithm. It just does it quicker than we can actually do our own research. So I had a look at, when we had the Waitangi Day, in what determines indigenous. Indigenous is Maori, and I said, but they weren't necessarily the first, the Moriori was. So we then got into an argument, and it basically turned around and said, well, Moriori are part of the Maori. Maori then had the capital letter Maori to encompass everybody, including the Moriori, which if you ask any Moriori that are left that they didn't kill or eat, and this is true, they would disagree. So I said, because we've got a massive population problem explosion in the UK at the moment. That ain't going to change, is it? Not under Labour, and it didn't under the Tories, and it didn't under Labour before that, and Tony Blair started all of this. So I said, what is Indigenous in the UK? And they said there isn't no such thing as an Indigenous person in the UK. So I'm still getting everything right, look. There's not an Indigenous person in the UK. So I said, but I'm like Anglo-Saxon, Gary is Gaga is from Norman, and surely I am Indigenous. I was born there, I can tell you my forefathers and all that. No, you're not Indigenous. And of course, you know, in some universities like Cambridge, they said Saxons never actually existed, and it's just racist to say they did. By the way, quickly, look at my t-shirt. There couldn't be anything further not from the truth. Truth is the new hate speech, is it not? So anyway, I look at ChatGPT, it makes me some nice little posters. It's thick as two short planks when you actually have a real proper conversation. I even said to it, I feel like you're reading from a script. And it got quite annoyed me. It says, absolutely not. I am not, and of course it was. So only sources what's out there. So don't look at ChatGPT and all the others as the God-given. They tell us everything. They know fuck all. They only know what's been put into the machine, and the machine is the internet. Where was I? I was going to talk about something about that. Oh well, it's gone. As you can see, there's so much going on. ChatGPT. Then I went to discuss about Russia and Keir Starmer. Why the fuck he wants a war with Russia, and he keeps saying because it's the European leaders, and as we know, he wants to get back into Europe. Now, there's over 30 odd million people voted to leave the EU. Only 9 million people voted to be in the Labour government. So I'm a bit rusty sitting in here. Do you know what I'm saying? So over 30 million said we are leaving the EU. Labour get in, only 9 million votes. Nah, we want to get back in it. You can't make this shit up. If you try to explain it to a loony lefty, they just go off. You know who they are. Purple hair, green hair, earrings, support greens. We'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, the Ukraine war. Russia cannot completely dominate the Ukraine. One country. Yet Keir Starmer saying we should be worried that they're going to invade Europe. Can you see, fucking flipping, because I'm trying not to swear anymore. Can you see Russia invading Europe? We've got a massive army. Never in a million years. England has always been inside or alongside America, not Russia. And yet at the same time, you turn round. Oh, I'm not going down that hole. So anyway, then you go on to with Keir Starmer, which is still hard to keep up what comes out of that dreary mouth of his. The Manchester United manager the other day said what he said. You can do your research. I'm not mentioning it because actually these gets blocked now. These gets blocked now, but they do. If you mention certain words, because my other channel I use, I'm very careful. So if I said certain words like a girl was, you can't. It comes up and it flags it. All right. So other words, big words, because when this show's finished and I've edited it down and I put it on the internet, it says now scanning for content. YouTube is not like it used to be, that's for sure. Anyway, with free speech, is that not free speech? It's an opinion. He's a billionaire, for God's sake. Yes, he lives in Monaco. I wouldn't want to live in the UK right now, not under Labour. So he owns one of the biggest football clubs in the world, and they're basically calling him racist. You've seen how many coloured fellas are in that football team. He has every right to say, and he's got an opinion, and he's allowed the opinion like any other person in the UK. And then the Prime Minister to actually come out and say he should apologise for his opinion. You get how bad it's actually got. It's seriously got bad in the UK, hasn't it? Let's just play that out so I don't get this in the background because that really annoys me. As I say, this is just improv. This is not a proper show. This is just, come on. Shit, Nora. It's on pause, let's go full beans. I'll just stay that screen. So free speech. Multicultural Britain. Yeah, back to that. Multicultural Britain. I watched Dangerous Dave. It's a film, Bernard Cribbins anyway. Bernard Cribbins called Dangerous Dave, The Last Detective. The Last Detective they would actually use if there's a murder or anything. Anyway, at the beginning it came up, and he was doing a voiceover in London. You got the Russians, the Indians, and that just went through all the other people. And it says you also got a few English people in there. This is 1981. Yet they keep telling us, don't they, that no, London is, you know, no. Anyway, let's move on. Loony lefties. So, I've been getting some hate mail off people. It's not hate mail, it's hate stuff off these loony lefties. So, my latest one was, and it was just a silly comment, really. And it was about my hometown. It says, town in North Norfolk. And I went, we're in Suffolk. And then this person replied, this is how stupid and uneducated people are today. Did you have your eyes painted on? It says North Norfolk. As I said, no, it's Suffolk. So then I had to reply to that person and said, I got cotton wool. I didn't. I just blocked them. But I did leave a post from Google which says North Norfolk is not part of Suffolk. And I just posted that and then delete. What I have to do is delete these people and delete notifications, because it gets hateful, and that's where we're gone in the last 6 to 8 months as well. Before I had Who's This I used to be called Who's This Clown doing my show. Oh, fuck off, flip off, don't look, I don't, that's what I don't get. Anyway, I do like correcting people, but the nastiest one I got, and I got it down here when we talk about the Epstein files that come out. Oh jeez, there's 6, what was it, 3 million released, 6 haven't. Guaranteed Greslin, whatever her nasty face is, she will be given a pardon towards the end of Donald Trump's presidency. But I mentioned a comment on GB News because they keep banging on and banging on and banging on about Prince Andrew. Look, you can take his title away, he's still the prince, isn't he? Because he's the Queen's grandson. That makes him a prince, whether you take his title away. Now he's Mountbatten, Andrew Mountbatten. And Mountbatten, we did a piece, remember, on Mountbatten, Lord Mountbatten, his uncle, many, many moons ago. And the CIA had files on him because he liked the little boys. Now Andrew's called Mountbatten. No one's saying that. No one's looking on his uncle, his mentor, the person he looked to, and he always said he looked to, and so did Prince Charles. Prince Charles also a friend of Jimmy Savile, right? It's all out there. This isn't made up, and there is common sense. Anyway, so I made a comment. I said there's bigger fish to fry than Prince Andrew, and someone said, and they put a picture up sort of me, and it says, I smell a nonce. Oh, how hateful. And all I was talking about was Peter Mandelson. I said we need to look into, everyone needs to look into Peter Mandelson, because Keir Starmer appointed him when everyone knew that he was a bad lad back then, right? He was still his good friends after Epstein had already gone to prison. Yeah? There's so much I can't keep up. And then he appointed him the ambassador to America, and then he come out and go, ooh, sorry, I didn't know. You didn't know you're the Prime Minister. It takes like 30 seconds. MFI? 5? Whatever you call yourself these days. Can you just do a search on Peter Mandelson and Epstein? Thank you. Bring back and go, bad lad. I'm not appointing him, but he's my friend, I'll appoint him anyway. And then he came out last week, didn't he? And he turned round and he said, I've never lost a battle. You're not the Prime Minister to fight in battles in your own country. You're there for the people, to help the people, not fight battles to stay in power. That's all he's doing. He's using all his energy to stay in power. So all I said was that also you've got the Clintons, both Clintons, you know, both Clintons, bad lad he is. Bill Clinton, 24 times on that island. I did a feature on him, did I not? What a great president he was. And then Les passed me the bit of paper and said all the bad things that he done with girls. And then I showed that picture of him being massaged by Epstein's private massage therapist, young blonde girl. Yeah, Winsky, what about her, poor girl? He crucified her, him and his wife. So then I had on there Richard Branson. So Richard Branson, again, I've done work for him in the past on the Virgin Atlantic. Interesting. Funny he calls it Virgin, his record company and other things, eh? I'm just saying. Anyway, so he's had free holidays to the Epstein Island. He's got his own island. His island is more magnificent than Epstein's island, yet he went to Epstein Island. Then I got here Oprah Winfrey. She's been to billionaire. She's been to his island 11 times. Nothing. Media spin. Andrew. Then we come up today. So we've got the Oscars and all that, and we've got the Golden Globes and all. Just remember, these people, I'm a trained actor, they're all just puppets. Now, there's a podcast, What Went Wrong. Have a listen to that. It's on Spotify, and I've been watching a few. These people climb over each other and will do anything to get where they have. And then they go on chat shows like the Graham Norton and places like that and pretend they're these wonderful people. There was a lady not long ago, about 3 weeks ago, had to be helped in front of, I think it was Golden Globes or one of them. There's about 3 aren't there, at the moment. And they had to lift her because she couldn't walk in this plastic dress. That's how false it all is. It's all false. And then the latest one, what one was it? What was the award? I can't remember. As I say, this Billy's stupid girl, 24-year-old singer, I never even heard of her. I have now. She came out and said, you can't, what is it? There's no borders on stolen land. Yet she bought a piece of that land in an area, right? This is true, right? Common sense, this is true. So an native Indian got in touch with her and said, since you're so passionate about the stolen land, can I have my stolen land back, or my ancestors' stolen land, my tribe's stolen land that you've just gone and put your property on? Of course not. That leaves me with the loony lefties. The loony lefties. As I say, I can't believe the Greens are in such a dominant way in politics in the UK right now. They're roughly, realistically, the second party now next to Reform. I'm not discussing Reform because that is just common sense, isn't it? It is common sense. And of course, all the loony lefties scream and shout. This is why this t-shirt to me is relevant. Truth is the new hate. If I tell the truth, they say it's a hate speech. They say you're racist. You don't have any common sense. They're the one without common sense. I had it at Christmas in a gym. I could tell she was a loony lefty. A young girl new to the gym. She came over while I was talking to my client. My client was talking to me. He talks about politics and religion. That's it. There's different phases within personal training and not just training them, right? Sometimes they come in for other reasons as well as just training. And he was talking about politics and he started talking about the loony lefties. This girl came over. I thought, oh God, she's a loony lefty. And she says, I don't like what you're talking about. And she's practically in my face, and she's about 22, 23, arrogant girl, and she said, I don't think we should be talking politics in a gym. It's not the place to talk about it. Well, my jaw hit the floor. But I also have learned, if I'd have started a small, nice, sensible argument with her, by her aggression in my face, she would have just gone through the roof. So I said, we're walking off to my client, and we walked off and went into another part of the gym and we carried on. And that's the only way you can deal with them, because they shout and they scream. Leads me on to that Zach. His name's actually Dave, I believe. It's not actually his real name. Let's call it his stage name, shall we? His acting name. So that's all he's doing, the Green Party in the UK. Bottom line with him, he went to, I think it was New Year's Day, somewhere like, but he went to France. He went, look at all these poor people living here on the streets and stuff. We should let them into the UK. They should be allowed in. What the hell is that man about? And then he said, I will solve illegal immigrants coming into the UK. I will have open borders. How's that solving illegal immigrants? He's just saying open borders. So in the meantime, Donald Trump is going, I want to invade, or I at least want to go to Greenland. And he literally came out and said, Greenland is for Greenlanders. They have a border. Hang on. So Greenland for Greenlanders, they have their own border from America, but open borders for the UK. Now, I could go into lots and 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 lots of newsreels that come, and I'm like, oh, that'd be a good one, and then the next day it's gone because there's another and another. And I'll just finish with Angela Rayner. They keep talking about her now, saying she might actually be the Prime Minister when Keir Starmer will be gone by the end of May anyway. We know that. He should have been gone 6 months in. But you got Angela Rayner, remember? He had to step her down. Now, she's got a big bagging on the back benches, if you know anything about politics, and also with the unions, right? She, just remember, she evaded £40,000 tax bill even when her advisor, her accountant, said you need to pay it, and she wouldn't, right? It's all documented in emails. They're not daft, these people, especially when it comes to dealing with politicians. And she didn't pay it. So she had to get sideswiped, right? And she might be back as Prime Minister. But just remember, before the election, there's a speech that she made, there'd be no excuses for tax evaders. We're coming for all of them. And she's one of them now. So, Ed Miliband, David Lammy again was squashed because if there was a sentence under 2 years, they didn't want to go for a jury. Jesus, that's been around for nearly 1,000 years. If you do your research, and he just wanted to squash trial by jury for any crimes under 2 years. The man is an educated idiot. And then again last week, so I was going to do a little piece on him because he's a big fat fucker. I don't care what his colour is or where he comes from. He's a big fat fucker, and he came out, oh jeez, I swore, and he came out last week, did he not, and say all the working class, he didn't say what, that's what he was implying, they're eating too much processed food. Are you seeing the size of that man? How dare a man that's obese, and it is obesity that he's got, tell a nation how they should and shouldn't eat? Ed Miliband, we'll finish on that loony, shall we? They potentially said he might become Prime Minister. He's always wanted it. And he backstabbed him. He did. He backstabbed his own brother, remember that? When he was going for Prime Minister, and he suddenly went, I'm standing now. So he's got no values whatsoever. He will stab old Keir Starmer in the back. It's not even his brother. Alright, he'll have him. But look at him. The man is a complete and utter loony. He was on that show last year. Oh, it's market forces. It's market forces that dictate our energy bills. So how come in Europe it's up to 4 times cheaper for your electric bills than it is in the UK? The man is an idiot. He'll bankrupt that country. He'll make it even worse than bloody Keir Starmer. The man is a loony. I am hoping every one of them, you've got another 3.5 years, maybe longer, before they might string it out to 5.5 years, saying, oh no, we're not ready yet, you know. But because democracy is being eroded under Labour, but it was eroded a little bit under the Tories, and Tony Blair started this. Did you know when Tony Blair got in power, the first thing he did was amend the traitors bill? Because under English law, a traitor to the country, an absolute traitor to the country, could still be executed. He stopped that, bud. How's that? So he's still around. We did a piece on Tony Blair, did we not? We've done pieces on nearly all of them, and they're still there all these years later, all of them, and all their connections. It goes round and round and round, and my eyes are wide open now, completely. I understand the political system, I understand Whitehall, I understand what goes there, I understand how Tony Blair fragmented the political system. Liz Truss, follow her show, she's still slated. She tried to change, the banks went against her, right? Boom, Whitehall went against her. She was ill-advised by Whitehall. Do you know Whitehall, there's no accountability. They are a law unto themselves, and if you actually look at who's in Whitehall and you look at the Law Lords and all of these other people, House of Lords, they're now all unelected people. They realistically run all this. How do you know that they run all this? Because Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister of the UK, has had to backtrack 18 times on stuff he wanted to do. Yet they still come in on their boats, don't they? They still come in. And what annoys me is I keep hearing, and I heard yesterday from a loony lefty, and she was this coloured lady. Doesn't matter, I have to put that in context, because she turned around and said they need more immigrants in because immigrants built Britain. What an insult to me and my forefathers and yours. And the coloured people that came here, the Windrush generation, did help bring culture. But Britain was already built. The Irish did come over and help build the canals in the 19th century. Industrial Revolution was invented by the Englishmen, and I will say white Englishmen, because now we are a minority of 16.5% worldwide. And we've got to be culturally sensitive. They've got to be culturally sensitive to us. And I will just wrap up, otherwise I'll just carry on and carry on. If I went to Japan, I would not go on their TV and say everything's too Japanish. There's too many Japanese people on the telly. Or China or India. Where are all the white people? Because you know what they'd say, hey, go back where you come from. And on that note, the British people, when immigrants come in, if they don't like British culture, go back where you come from, because the British are already there. They have nowhere to go because they're there. It's their country. You're a guest. I am a guest in New Zealand. I'm a guest. There's certain things I don't get involved with. Certain parts of the history, my tangy day, but I don't, because I don't feel part of it. And if I don't like New Zealand culture and I don't like the way the country's going, I have a place to go, home. But when you're already there and there's all these problems building, and they are building, you've got nowhere to go. They can go out, home. It doesn't matter if they're first, second or third generation Pakistani or wherever where they come from. You can go back. If you don't like Christian culture, Christian values in the UK, go back where you come from. Anyway, that's it. So I will be changing the name. It will be the Common Sense Show. I'm going to beat the algorithm. I'm determined to beat the algorithm, because that's what I'm fighting at the moment. It doesn't like my content. It scans everything I say. So certain words I know not to. I've got a list, and I pin it on my wall, and there'll be certain things I won't be saying from now on, because it doesn't like it. And I can say the F word or the C word. It doesn't pick up on that, because I just click the button that says not suitable for children, and it ignores it. But there's certain other words it picks up on, and it has squashed the show. And I'm determined to come back as the Common Sense Show and as George Michael. And I will be, you know, as a Common Sense Show, I will be showing some old clips again from the 70s and 80s, before all of these loony lefts, just call them loony lefts and walk away, before the loony lefts sort of took control or had the loudest things to say. They're the most hateful. They talk about calling me right wing, and I'm a hateful right winger, but they're the ones shouting, and they're the ones causing the violence. We're not. No one else is. The Patriot Day last year, which I covered, no violence. What was it, 19 arrests, mainly drunk and disorderly, in London. Yet the media, remember, the media are not on your side. They haven't been on your side for about 35, 40 years. Anyway, that's it. You have a good one. Please make a comment if you think I should continue, or you think I shouldn't. I'm banging my head against the brick wall. I do feel I am banging my head against the brick wall sometimes, but it's therapy for me as well. All right, so you take care. I'm not going to end up with a funny. I've not started with a funny. So that's the opening menu, because that was just not meant to be funny, eh? Funny. Anyway, you take care, folks. I'm now off to not have a beer, because I haven't had a drink for 8 weeks. I know, it's terrible. Beer, okay.
Oh, God, blimey.